Yeah. So let me pause. And Sarah, you may begin.
Welcome, everyone, to the 2025 RUSA Book and Media Awards ceremony at ALA LibLearnX, where we celebrate so many outstanding award recipients and best of lists. This morning, we'll begin with the announcement of RUSA's notable book lists and other best of lists, and we'll culminate with the exciting announcement of the winners of the 2025 Carnegie Medals for Excellence in Fiction and Nonfiction winners. Many reasons why this is a can't miss event. The awards and lists we're hearing about this morning support and enhance a critical aspect of library work. While libraries continue to change in significant and important ways, their role in helping people find good things to read and helpful information that can transform their lives stays constant. The RUSA notable book list and the other RUSA lists being revealed today, and of course, the long lists and short lists generated by the Carnegie Selection Committee, offer easy ways to identify a great array of quality reading and listening suggestions. They support your work as you help patrons discover the best fiction and nonfiction titles, as well as the full range of informational resources. Today, we will hear directly from committee members about the behind-the-scenes selection process as they announce their winners and best of lists. ALA and its divisions and offices are fortunate that so many important initiatives are supported by committed sponsors, including the Carnegie Corporation of New York, which contributed toward the establishment of the Carnegie Medals in 2012. A special thank you as well to the publishers of the books and media considered for the awards and lists we're hearing about today. Thank you all, librarians, supporters, and book lovers, for all you do year-round to generate enthusiasm for good literature and to help people find books, media, and other resources that entertain, inform, and enrich their lives. And now I'd like to introduce Dr. Jo Phillips, Chair of RUSA's Notable Books Council.
Wow, thank you so much, Sarah, and thank you to everyone for joining us today for these exciting announcements. It has been both an honor and a pleasure to serve as the chair of the Notable Books Council this year. Since 1944, the goal of the Notable Books Council has been to make available to the nation's readers a list of very good, very readable, and at times very important fiction, nonfiction, and poetry books for adults. This year has been no exception, and we all experienced an exceptional year for literary fiction, nonfiction, and poetry. And the 11 members of our council fully embrace the challenge of identifying the most notable books of the year. Throughout the year, we explore professional reviews, anticipated book lists, and recommendations from colleagues and the readers we serve. We also comb through new bookshelves, seeking out works that met our rigorous criteria. As a committee, we read and evaluated over 750 books to narrow down our top contenders, culminating in our 3-day deliberation meeting earlier this month. If you consider the average length of a literary work to be approximately 275 pages, this means that we collectively evaluated over 206,000 pages in 2024, a remarkable testament to the dedication and passion of this group. As we began our 3-day deliberations, I asked the committee 2 reflective questions. The first was about the sacrifices that each member made for this important work. Many of us spoke of time away from children, partners, family, and friends to do all of this reading. And for this reason, I would like to extend heartfelt gratitude to our families and loved ones for their support and understanding throughout this demanding process. Thank you for making dinners, thank you for doing laundry, and thank you for doing the chores that were too difficult to do with a book in hand. Your encouragement and love made this achievement possible. The second question that I posed the group was how each member planned to celebrate once the list was finalized. We shared plans for self-care and activities that we wanted to do, such as karaoke, hiking, and travel. And we found great ways to celebrate with a well-earned break. And many of us were looking forward to reading genre fiction, classics, young adult novels, or books that were ineligible for this year's list. This reaffirmed for me the passion, care, and enthusiasm that every committee member brought to this work and their genuine love of reading. I would like to thank the RUSA staff and the RUSA Codes leadership for their steadfast support throughout this process. Your guidance and dedication ensured the success of this award. Additionally, I extend my gratitude to librarians and library workers everywhere who connect readers with materials that energize and enrich their lives. And to the readers, thank you for continuing to love what we love, great books. Your enthusiasm and curiosity inspired everything we did this year. On behalf of the entire council, I extend our deepest thanks to the writers and publishers who gifted us with such extraordinary, informative, and inspiring books this year. Your creativity and vision have not only enriched our reading experiences, but have also provided valuable escapes, insights, and joy to readers everywhere. This year's notable books are: in fiction, Anita de Monte Laughs Last by Xochitl Gonzalez, published by Flatiron Books. A Cuban-American conceptual artist's untimely death in 1985 New York City becomes forgotten until a student uncovers her work while exploring women artists. Fire Exit by Morgan Talty, published by Tin House. A poignant story about the secrets of a white man raised on a Penobscot reservation examines the bonds of family and the definition of heritage. Ghost Roots by Pemi Aguda, published by W.W. Norton and Company, Incorporated. Set in Nigeria, this eerie and unsettling story collection explores family, gender, and tradition. James by Percival Everett, published by Doubleday, a division of Penguin Random House, LLC. Told from Jem's perspective, this psychologically astute retelling of Twain's classic tale highlights the fight for dignity and justice with subversive humor. Martyr by Kaveh Akbar, published by Alfred A. Knopf, a division of Penguin Random House, LLC. An Iranian-American poet's obsession leads him on a journey to discover truths about his family past in this darkly funny debut novel. Sipsworth by Simon Van Buey, published by Godine. An elderly woman preparing for her death finds an unexpected reason to live after she befriends a mouse. The History of Sound by Ben Shattuck, published by Viking, an imprint of Penguin Random House, LLC. Love, loss, home, and family permeate interconnected narratives spanning more than 3 centuries in New England. Two-Step Devil by Jamie Quattro, published by Grove Press, an imprint of Grove Atlantic. The lives of 2 social outcasts, a man who has religious visions and a teenage girl who is being trafficked, intersect in this story of faith and redemption set in the Southern Appalachians. Wandering Stars by Tommy Orange, published by Alfred A. Knopf, a division of Penguin Random House, LLC. A searing epic that recounts the multi-generational trauma, institutional violence, and forced assimilation of Native people and the unhealed psychological scars that still linger. Whalefall by Elizabeth O'Connor, published by Pantheon Books, a division of Penguin Random House, LLC. Quiet, authentic, and resolute, this debut coming-of-age story chronicles the slow degradation of isolated 1930s Welsh island life and the community's exploitation by mainland ethnographers from the perspective of an unmarried 18-year-old woman. And lastly, Wolf at the Table by Adam Rapp, published by Little Brown and Company, a division of Hachette Book Group. Over several decades, siblings Myra, Ronan, Lexi, and Fiona experience life and the pursuit of the American dream with love, devastation, and violence. And now our nonfiction winners. Becoming Earth, How Our Planet Came to Life by Ferris Jaber, published by Random House, an imprint and division of Penguin Random House, LLC. A thoroughly researched, accessible, and expressive examination of how organisms influence their environments. Challenger, a true story of heroism and disaster on the edge of space by Adam Higginbotham, published by Avid Reader Press, an imprint of Simon & Schuster, LLC. A devastating definitive account of bravery and hubris leading to a live broadcast catastrophe. John Lewis, A Life by David Greenberg, published by Simon & Schuster. A comprehensive biography of the esteemed civil rights leader from his upbringing in Alabama through his years as a legislator in Washington, D.C. Kent State, An American Tragedy by Brian Vandermark, published by W.W. Norton and Company Incorporated. A painstaking and compelling account of the events that left 4 students dead in Ohio. Native Nations, A Millennium in North America by Kathleen Duvall, published by Random House, an imprint and division of Penguin Random House, LLC. An insightful and engaging account of how Indigenous peoples adapted over 1,000 years of continental changes. No Road Leading Back, An Improbable Escape from the Nazis and the Tangled Way We Tell the Story of the Holocaust by Chris Heath, published by Schocken Books, a division of Penguin Random House, LLC. Exploring the cultural use and misuse of Holocaust testimony, this horrific account describes how a dozen prisoners in Lithuania's Ponar death pits dug a tunnel and evaded SS officers, leaving behind uncomfortable truths. Out of the Sierra, A Story of Raramuri Resistance by Victoria Blanco, published by Coffee House Press. Oral history and participatory fieldwork culminates in the depiction of Raramuri resilience and community when faced with displacement, climate change, poverty, cultural erasure, and anti-Indigenous prejudice. Survival is a Promise, The Eternal Life of Audre Lorde by Alexis Pauline Gumbs, published by Farrer, Straus, and Guru. A stylistically inventive, non-linear biography celebrating the life and legacy of the Black feminist poet. There's Always This Year on Basketball and Ascension by Hanif Abdurraqib, published by Random House, an imprint and division of Penguin Random House, LLC. A sui generis and deeply personal lyrical exploration of loss, memory, and resilience that offers reflections on life's transient yet enduring moments. Whiskey Tender, a Memoir by Deborah Jackson Taffa, published by Harper Books, an imprint of HarperCollins. Complex familiar relationships integrate with histories of Indigenous culture to create a personal and enlightening account of growing up in the 1980s on and off a reservation. Why Animals Talk, The New Science of Animal Communication by Arik Kirschenbaum, published by Penguin Press, an imprint of Penguin Random House, LLC. A lively examination of the meaning behind howls, screeches, and other calls of 7 species: dolphins, wolves, hyraxes, parrots, chimpanzees, gibbons, and humans. And lastly, Why We Remember, Unlocking Memory's Power to Hold On to What Matters by Charan Ranganath, PhD, published by Doubleday, a division of Penguin Random House, LLC. Powerful insights, detailed research, and impactful storytelling distinguish this exploration of the human mind. And our poetry winners are Bluff by Dinez Smith, published by Grey Wolf Press, an imaginative and searching composition that forges new space in a harsh and violent land. Leaving Biddle City by Marianne Chan, published by Sarin Band Books. Through a fictionalized Midwestern setting, the author excavates family history and memory, rebuilding a new understanding of self and home. And lastly, Something About Living by Lena Halef Tufaha, published by the University of Akron Press. An examination of global violence, displacement, and the radical act of love required to remain kind and retain humanity in the post-colonial world. Please join me in a round of applause for these outstanding selections and our hardworking committee members. And now I'd like to introduce Ann Cox, Chair of RUSA's Reading List Committee.
Thank you, Jo. I'll echo your words to thank RUSA, Codes, and our friends and family for all the support and patience we have received this year as we've completed our work for the committee. The reading list highlights outstanding genre fiction in 8 different categories. The 8 genres currently included in the Reading List Council's considerations are adrenaline, fantasy, historical fiction, horror, mystery, relationship fiction, romance, and science fiction. The 11 librarians of the Reading List Council have evaluated over 1,000 individual titles for consideration on this year's list, each giving hundreds of volunteer hours to seek out the best examples of genre fiction. Our work can often feel isolated. After all, reading is almost always a solitary effort. However, my experience on the Reading Council over 4 years of participation has been overwhelmingly been one of friendship and community. We have collaborated over shared documents and spreadsheets, sent dozens of emails and messages, met monthly with the purpose of building camaraderie within the group, and engaged in spirited but friendly discussions over 4 days in January to select our final list. As I've reflected on the trends we've seen in genre fiction this year, I was often reminded how much our group's own sense of community was present in the titles we evaluated. From a trio of vastly different women in pre-Civil War Philadelphia who bond over their shared purpose to find freedom from slavery, to a found family that embarks on a space heist to save a species, and to a ghost and her new human roommate who overcome the ethereal to solve a murder together, we saw again and again in the books we read this year the strength that comes when we draw together. During my time on the reading list, a deep need for home and comfort in a post-pandemic culture was reflected in our reading. We still need that comfort, but the books on our list often show that comfort comes from finding community. This year's reading list winners and shortlists are: for Adrenaline, the winner is What Happened to Nina, a thriller by Dervla McTiernan, William Morrow, an imprint of HarperCollins Publishers. And now the shortlist. First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston, Pamela Dorman Books Viking, an imprint of Penguin Random House, LLC. Hunted by Abir Mukherjee, Mulholland Books, an imprint of Little Brown and Company, a division of Hachette Book Group. The Return of Ellie Black, a novel by Emiko Jean, Simon & Schuster, an imprint of Simon & Schuster, LLC. Smoke Kings, a novel by Jamal Mayfield, Melville House. For fantasy, the winner is The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo, Flatiron Books, a division and imprint of Macmillan Publishers. And the shortlist. The Book of Doors by Gareth Brown, William Morrow, an imprint of HarperCollins Publishers. Long Live Evil, Time of Iron Book 1 by Sarah Reese Brennan, Orbit, an imprint of Hachette Book Group. A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher, a Tor book published by Tom Doherty Associates, Tor Publishing Group, a division of Macmillan Publishers. The Witchstone by Henry H. Neff, Blackstone Publishing. For historical fiction, the winner is The Lion Women of Tehran by Marjan Kamali, Gallery Books, an imprint of Simon & Schuster, LLC. And the shortlist. All We Were Promised, a novel by Ashton Lattimore, Valentine Books, an imprint of Random House, a division of Penguin Random House, LLC. The Briar Club, a novel by Kate Quinn, William Morrow, an imprint of HarperCollins Publishers. The Frozen River, a novel by Ariel Lawhon, Doubleday, a division of Penguin Random House, LLC. Masquerade by O.O. Shangoyomi, a Forge book published by Tom Doherty Associates, Tor Publishing Group, a division of Macmillan Publishers. For horror, the winner is Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle, a Nightfire book published by Tom Doherty Associates, Tor Publishing Group, a division of Macmillan Publishers. And now the shortlist. Diavola by Jennifer Thorne, a Nightfire book published by Tom Doherty Associates, Tor Publishing Group, a division of Macmillan Publishers. The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim, Erewhon, an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corp. The Night Guest by Hildur Knutsdottir, translated by Mary Robinette Kowal, a Nightfire book published by Tom Doherty Associates, Tor Publishing Group, a division of Macmillan Publishers. We Used to Live Here by Marcus Cleaver, Emily Bessler Books, Atria, an imprint of Simon & Schuster, LLC. For mystery, the winner is How to Solve Your Own Murder, a novel by Kristen Perrin, Dutton, an imprint of Penguin Random House, LLC. And the shortlist. Death in the Spires by K.J. Charles, Storm Publishing. The Murder of Mr. Ma by John Sun-Yen Ni and S.J. Roseanne, Soho Press, Inc. A New Lease on Death, a Mystery by Olivia Black, Minotaur Books, an imprint of St. Martin's Publishing Group, a division of Macmillan Publishers. Trouble in Queenstown by Delia Pitts, Minotaur Books, an imprint of St. Martin's Publishing Group, a division, of St. Martin's Publishing Group, a division of Macmillan Publishers. For relationship fiction, the winner is The Twilight Garden, a novel by Sarah Nisha Adams, William Morrow, an imprint of HarperCollins Publishers. And the shortlist, Colton Gentry's Third Act, a novel by Jeff Sentner, Grand Central Publishing, a division of Hachette Book Group. Family, a novel by Lori Frankel, Henry Holt and Company, a division and imprint of Macmillan Publishers. How to Age Disgracefully by Claire Pooley, Pamela Dorman Books Viking, an imprint of Penguin Random House, LLC. The Wedding People, a novel by Allison Espak, Henry Holt and Company, a division and imprint of Macmillan Publishers. For romance, the winner is You Should Be So Lucky, a novel by Kat Sebastian, Avon, an imprint of HarperCollins Publishers. And now for the shortlist. Between Friends and Lovers, a novel by Shirlene Obleby, Avon, an imprint of HarperCollins Publishers. Full Moon Rising by Ruby Dixon, Ace Berkeley, an imprint of Penguin Random House, LLC. How to End a Love Story, a novel by Yuling Kwong, Avon, an imprint of HarperCollins Publishers. The Prospects, a novel by K.T. Hoffman, The Dial Press, an imprint of Random House, a division of Penguin Random House, LLC. And finally, for science fiction, the winner is The Stardust Grail by Yume Kitase, Flatiron Books, a division and imprint of Macmillan Publishers. And the shortlist, Lost Ark Dreaming by Suyi Davies Okunbola, a Tor.com book published by Tom Doherty Associates, Tor Publishing Group, a division of Macmillan Publishers. The Mercy of Gods, Book 1 of The Captives' War by James S.A. Corey, Orbit, an imprint of Hachette Book Group. The Ministry of Time by Collyanne Bradley, Avid Reader Press, an imprint of Simon & Schuster, LLC. Service Model by Adrian Tchaikovsky, a Tor.com book published by Tom Doherty Associates, Tor Publishing Group, a division of Macmillan Publishers. For the complete list, including annotations and read-alikes for the winning titles, please visit rusaupdate.org. Please join me in a round of applause for these outstanding selections and for our very, very hardworking committee volunteers. And now I'd like to introduce Alicia Alvers, Chair of RUSA's Listen List, Outstanding Audiobook Narration Committee.
Thank you, Anne. We will now turn to the Listen List, Outstanding Audiobook Narration, which highlights extraordinary narrators and listening experiences that merit special attention by a general adult audience and the librarians who advise them. The Listen List Council selects a list of 12 titles, including fiction, nonfiction, poetry, and plays. This year's committee evaluated 257 titles with a total listening time of more than 2,724 hours. Analyzing audiobooks is a little different process than evaluating text, in that the narrator or narrators use their art to elevate a title, making it a unique listening experience. Titles are named to this list because the narration creates a new experience with an outstanding performance in terms of voice, accents, pitch, tone, inflection, rhythm, and pace, offering listeners something they could not create with their own visual reading. We listened to stories across the spectrum, but did notice a few trends in our listening this year. Magical stories with lower stakes, referred to as cozy fantasy, popped up everywhere, much to the delight of our committee. We also saw a big uptick in sentient houses getting involved in the action, and not just in the more traditional fantasy and horror genres. They even made an appearance in historical fiction. This year, there was also a lot of representation of older characters in vibrant, active roles, with exploration of how older adult contributions are often overlooked and minimized, even in the more lighthearted offerings. Magical realism was an element in several of our selections, and many books we explored were described as quietly devastating. And in my personal favorite, we found family tropes abounded. Hopefully you will enjoy exploring these selections as much as our committee did. This year's selections are All This and More by Pung Shepherd, narrated by Helen Laser, Harper Audio. Marsha's whole life has recently imploded, but things are looking up. She's been chosen as this year's season star for the world's hottest reality TV show, where the producers use cutting-edge quantum technology to explore alternate realities and change your life. This dark exploration of reality television is a delightfully adult take on the choose-your-own-adventure novel. Helen Laser's always engaging narration keeps the readers riveted in this fast-paced story. The Bullet Swallower, a novel by Elizabeth Gonzalez James, narrated by Lee Osorio, Simon & Schuster Audio. When movie star Jamie acquires a stench-inducing family history, he discovers a family curse traced to his great-grandfather, Antonio Sonaro. As we follow the two men, we discover the violent history of Antonio, his path of vengeance and retribution, and how the curse continues to impact the family in 1964. Lee Osorio's graveled vocals are a perfect complement to this gritty historical Western with just a touch of magical realism. California Bear by Dwayne Zorzinski, narrated by James Ubanik, Jesse Villeneuve, and Dwayne Zerzwinski, Hachette Audio. When ex-LAPD officer Cato Hightower finds evidence to free Jack Queen from prison, it comes with a price. He wants to find the infamous serial killer, the California Bear. Meanwhile, Jack's daughter is determined to prove her father was not a killer. This darkly comedic crime novel is nonstop action with a twist when the serial killer discovers he is being hunted. The narrators ably differentiate the characters and give each voice a distinct personality. The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhorn, narrated by James Oppenheimer, books on tape. This enthralling mystery, centered on a midwife in the late 1700s, is filled with suspense and heart. Martha is summoned to declare the cause of death when a body is found in a frozen river, and quickly finds herself investigating a murder. The engrossing narrative immerses listeners in the rich details of the era, weaving suspense and emotional depth throughout. Oppenheimer shines, delivering a gripping performance that brings the characters and their struggles to life. A Grandmother Begins the Story by Michelle Porter, narrated by Michelle Porter, Janny Lozon, Tara Skye, Tantu Cardinal, Dakota Ray Hebert, Bernard Starlight, Ella Maya Tailfeathers, Wesley French, Jenny Padovic, Lisa Cromarty, Monique Mojica, Allison Dion, Jacob McGinnis, Yolanda Bonnell, Breffney Caribou, and Kaiwanda. Hachette Audio. The rich and complex lives of 5 generations of Indigenous women and the world they inhabit are intricately explored by this full cast of talented narrators. The performance brings to life the profound bonds among the Métis women as they navigate challenges of grief, struggles with alcoholism, and the search for identity. Through powerful storytelling, the women's legacies and experiences offer listeners a poignant glimpse into their enduring spirit. Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay, narrated by Ari Fliakos, Danny Martinek, Mickey Shiloh, Michael Crouch, Frankie Corzo, Stacy Gonzalez, Tyla Collier, Ariel Blake, Jonathan McLean, Dan Bittner, Eva Kaminsky, and Gisela Chipa, Harper Audio. A low-budget horror film from the 90s, unreleased due to on-set controversy, becomes a viral sensation on YouTube, leading to a big-budget remake. The full cast narrates, weaving together 2 different timelines while alternating sections containing table readings of the new film, adding a dimension of realism. The cold narration of the unreliable main character draws listeners into his twisted world, even as you might wish you could just turn it off. I'm starting to worry about this Black Box of Doom by Jason Pargin, narrated by Ari Fliakos, Macmillan Audio. A young, anxiety-ridden Los Angeles rideshare driver picks up an unusual woman with an exceptionally large road case who offers him an unbelievable amount of money to take her to Washington, D.C. Wild stories proliferate about them as they become a social media sensation on their journey across the country, along with predictions that the case they are transporting may end the world. The narration changes tempo, accelerating as things get exciting and assuming a reassuring pacing as needed. James by Percival Everett, narrated by Dominic Hoffman, Books on Tape. This audiobook offers a reimagined adaptation of Mark Twain's classic, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. In this version, Jim is presented as a fully developed character in his quest for freedom rather than a mere sidekick. Hoffman's dynamic performance brings depth to Jim's journey, captivating listeners and drawing them into a rich exploration of themes and emotions. Nephew, a memoir in 4-part harmony by M.K. Asante, narrated by M.K. Asante, Dion Graham, Aden Relay Ojo, and Neff, Harper Audio. Set in Philadelphia, Asante shares an emotionally charged narrative that serves as a heartfelt love letter to his nephew. This inspiring story of resilience after the young man was shot 9 times explores themes of family, trauma, and the enduring power of love. Asante's powerful memoir is highlighted by the authentic performances of M.K. Asante, Dion Graham, Aden Relay Ojo, and Neff. Our Hidden Conversations. What Americans Really Think About Race and Identity by Michelle Norris, narrated by Michelle Norris and a full cast, Simon & Schuster Audio. An extraordinary culmination of a 14-year endeavor dedicated to uncovering the unvarnished perspectives of Americans on the complex topic of race. Through 6-word stories, we listen to a profound and insightful exploration of the varied ways in which the nation views itself and grapples with its racial identity. With a rich tapestry of voices and experiences, listeners are invited to reflect deeply on the conversations that shape our understanding of race in America. The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Dernst, narrated by Caitlin Davies, Macmillan Audio. Kayla and her sentient spider plant companion flee a revolution and a burning library to Kayla's childhood home. They find their place in the small community of magical creatures by selling jam and secretly teaching spell work. Caitlin Davies creates a distinct voice for each of the characters, adding emotional depth to the dialogue. She perfectly matches the heartwarming and whimsical tone of Sarah Beth Durst's low-stakes and heartwarming cozy romantasy. Victim by Andrew Borriega, narrated by Anthony Ray Perez, Books on Tape. A man sets off on a journey to turn his personal tragedies into educational and employment opportunities within a society that often fixates on trauma porn. Anthony Ray Perez delivers a riveting and distinctive performance that immerses listeners in Javi's odyssey. The audiobook transforms this polarizing narrative into an intimate confession from a close friend. Please join me in a round of applause for those outstanding selections and for our hardworking committee volunteers. And now I'd like to introduce Dowdy Onis, Chair of Essential Cookbooks 2025.
Thank you, Alicia. The Essential Cookbooks Codes list focuses on a single subject area based on demand, interest, and need, and offers an annotated list of titles published in the previous year and suitable for all public library collections. This year, the committee looked at nearly 400 titles to narrow it down to 29 to the final 12. You cannot imagine the number of dishes we made. The committee endured broken sauces, burnt cookies, and just meh recipes that we then served to our colleagues, friends, and in one case, library board members. When we look at these cookbooks, we consider everything in it: photographs, recipes, list of ingredients, and we must consider that these cookbooks and their recipes and ingredients are available in towns of 200 to cities of 4 million. It makes it very difficult sometimes, but we want to create the best list possible for all public libraries. Many thanks to my committee members and colleagues and everyone else that learned to love these cookbooks the way that we did. Here are our selections. 100 Afternoon Sweets with snacking, cakes, brownies, and blondies, and more by Sarah Kiefer, published by Chronicle Books. For those with free afternoons, work your way through Kiefer's 15 one-bowl wonders in the first section. Just the variety of these offerings will keep you interested before moving on to the remaining 7 delicious chapters. With readily available ingredients, you can satisfy your sweet cravings, and no one will ever know if you indulge in the morning or the evening. Baking in the American South, 200 Recipes and Their Untold Stories by Anne Byrne, Harper Celebrate, an imprint of HarperCollins. Byrne, a native Southerner and food historian, draws from heirloom cookbooks and documents to describe how traditions, geography, and culture shape the cooking trends and food development. Pound cake and cornbread are familiar to most, but less well-known regional recipes such as Baltimore burger cookies and cantaloupe cream pie are highlights. Big Book of Bread, 125 plus recipes for every baker by Jessica Badalana. Simon Element, an imprint of Simon & Schuster. Beginners and experienced bakers will enjoy the well-illustrated, detailed instructions for making all kinds of yeast, sourdough, and festive breads like challah and babka. There is a wealth of information about necessary tools, types of flour, starters, and baker's math as well. The experts from King Arthur's Flour provide a wealth of delectable recipes with clear step-by-step instructions. Bodega Bakes, recipes for treats and sweets inspired by my corner store by Paulo Velez, published by Union Square and Company. Combining her Dominican heritage with years growing up in New York City, Velez offers a refreshing take on unique and mouth-watering sweet creations. With her signature can-do approach and coaching style, she offers unique flavor combinations and stunning photographic examples of her recipes that encourage home bakers to explore their surroundings and take on new challenges. Start with her multiple versions of her signature Thickum cookies as the gateway treat to make everything else in the book. Chocolate Lover, a baking book by Michelle Song, published by Chronicle Books. Too much of a good thing doesn't apply here. Satisfy your chocolate needs with a mix of traditional and innovative recipes for all types of desserts. Start simple with anytime chocolate snack cake and the very best chocolate chunk cookies. Food Book, The Stories, Science, and Histories of What We Eat, published by Dorling Kindersley. The food curious will not be disappointed with this fascinating deep dive into the history of food. With a multitude of colorful illustrations and photographs, this title is both a useful research tool and a browser's delight. Over 200 food groups from around the globe are examined, and readers will discover things to eat and drink that might surprise or repulse them. Hot Sheet, sweet and savory sheet pan recipes for every day and celebrations by Olga Massoff, published by Harvest, an imprint of HarperCollins. Make your life easy and your eaters happy with these pantry-wise creations that use just a simple sheet pan. Emerging home cooks and seasoned pros will find recipes to encourage and elevate their kitchen knowledge and skills. The Gochujang steak fajitas with kimchi, onions, and peppers is an umami bomb, and do not miss the Make Someone Happy cake. Italian Snacking by Anna Francesca Gus. Union Square and Company. From breakfast to desserts, this book has a wide variety of treats from all regions of Italy. Well-detailed instructions and beautiful photographs accompany recipes for all cooking levels. Whether you want to indulge in fried calzones for lunch or lemon ricotta and semolina cake with boozy blueberries for dessert, there are many savory and sweet options to choose from. Mastering the Art of Plant-Based Cooking by Joe Yonan, published by 10-Speed Press. Discover the beautiful and nutritious world of plant-based cooking with Yonan's exhaustive compendium. More than 300 thorough recipes help readers create a vegan pantry that can be used in place of store-bought counterparts. This foundational title includes weekday recipes such as lentil walnut picadillo and weekend projects like eggplant and artichoke pasticcio. Salty, cheesy, herby, crispy, snackable bakes. 100 easy-peasy savory recipes for 24/7 deliciousness by Jessie Sheehan, published by Countryman Press. Sheehan's latest book focuses on the savory aspect of snack recipes. This title is a great resource for all skill levels, and the ingredients are very easy to find. Start with the beautifully photographed cover recipe for salami brie and figgy mini pies, and work your way to recipes like the cheesy butter swim Old Bay biscuits. What to Cook When You Don't Feel Like Cooking by Carolyn Chambers, published by Union Square and Company. Chambers focuses on delicious food with minimal effort and organizes this book by preparation time, from shopping to having food on the table. Many tips, swaps, and shortcuts offer options for each recipe, which makes it easy for anyone to find something they like, with the ingredients at hand. Dilly chop with salt and vinegar chippies is an example of powerful flavor that comes together quickly to save the day. Zoe Bakes Cookies. Everything you need to know to make your favorite cookies and bars by Zoe Francois, published by 10-Speed Press. Hungry for something sweet? Then start baking cookies from Francois' latest title, which shares her life story through a variety of recipes. The first 60 pages are devoted to the Cookie Academy, along with the information about ingredients, decorating, and equipment. She also calls out those recipes which are nut-free, dairy-free, and gluten-free. Please join me in a round of applause for these outstanding selections and our hardworking committee members. And now, I'd like to introduce David Suarez, Chair of RUSA's Sophie Brody Medal Committee.
Thank you, Dodie. The Sophie Brody Medal is given annually to encourage, recognize, and commend outstanding achievement in Jewish literature. Our committee this year included public librarians, academic librarians, synagogue librarians, and one attorney with a passion for Jewish literature. This year, our committee noticed an increase in memoirs published by child Holocaust survivors. Additionally, many books and manuscripts repressed or blacklisted in former Soviet-influenced countries have been translated into English for the first time, nearly 60 to 70 years after they were written. Refreshingly, a host of fantasy novels with Jewish themes and books with representation of Jewish LGBTQ+ characters found their way into the hands of our committee this year. Before revealing the winner, I'm happy to announce these honorable mentions. Lee Hager Cohen, author of To and Fro, published by Bellevue Literary Press. Amir Tibon, author of The Gates of Gaza, a story of betrayal, survival, and hope in Israel's borderlands, published by Little Brown. Yael Vanderwooden, author of The Safekeep, published by Avid Reader Press. And Lee Yaron, author of 10-7, 100 Human Stories, published by St. Martin's Press. And the winner of the 2025 Sophie Brody Medal is Yosef Debreczini, author of Cold Crematorium, published by St. Martin's Press and translated by Paul Okvari. Harrowing and chilling, this is a haunting eyewitness account of surviving Nazi labor and concentration camps. The raw memoir recounts journalist and poet Debreczini's 12 months of incarceration, culminating in his stay in the Cold Crematorium, the barracks for the dying. Cold Crematorium stands among the foremost Holocaust testimonials. Please join me in a round of applause for the winner and our committee volunteers. And now I'd like to introduce Lauren Siegmiller, Chair of RUSA's Dartmouth Medal Committee.
Thank you, David. The Dartmouth Medal honors the creation of a reference work of outstanding quality and significance, including but not limited to writing, compiling, editing, or publishing books or electronic information. 2024 was an embarrassment of riches for the Dartmouth Medal in more than one way. The titles we received from publishers this year showed us reference resources that offer windows into evolving, emerging, and undersung disciplines on topics that ranged from quantum physics to mummy movies and everything in between. Likewise, our members' collective wisdom runs deep, and 2024 was yet another year replete with thoughtful discussion and fascinating insights. Before announcing the winner, though, I'm happy to announce these honorable mention titles. Design of Books, an explainer for authors, editors, agents, and other curious readers from University of Chicago Press. This small but mighty volume beautifully illustrates author Debbie Burns' 2 decades of experience designing books. This guide is essential to anyone with a stake in the publishing world, but any bibliophile will be captivated by this work. The Oxford Encyclopedia of African Archaeology from Oxford University Press. The African continent contains the earliest evidence of humankind, but African archaeologists are often underrepresented in this field due to lack of funding, political conflicts, and the residue of colonialism. Editor Dr. Shadrach Chirikuri aims to reverse that trend with this wide-ranging work on the many facets and complexities of African archaeology, featuring a majority of works from Africa-based scholars. The Smithsonian Handbook of Interesting Birds' Nests and Eggs from Smithsonian Books. Douglas G.D. Russell, Senior Curator, Birds at London's Natural History Museum, brings us this stunning look at avian architecture. Its taxonomic organization allows readers to turn the page and see a nest from a completely different time, geographic area, or conservation status from the one before. Each entry shows birds and humans' mutual impact upon each other, making for a work as fascinating as it is poignant. And the World Atlas of Rivers, Estuaries, and Deltas from Princeton University Press. Rivers have shaped human life since it began, providing means of agriculture, mobility, and creative inspiration. This comprehensive and accessible volume brings scientific understanding and cultural history together, complete with spectacular aerial photographs of these geographies. And the winner of this year's Dartmouth Medal goes to the Smithsonian Atlas of Space, a map to the universe from the Big Bang to the future, written by Roger D. Lanius and published by Smithsonian Books. The Atlas of Space brilliantly demonstrates the best aspects of outstanding reference works. Author Roger D. Lanius is a leading space historian whose resume includes both NASA and the Smithsonian. He's created a work that is both accessible and navigable. It has solid information and unforgettable imagery. It covers myriad topics from ancient perspectives on the universe to raising questions about our place in its future. It is the kind of work that can spark anyone's curiosity, and we hope to see it in libraries who serve people of all ages. Congratulations to the winner, and thanks to our hardworking volunteers, Donald Altschiller, Brian Coots, Donna Helmer, Katie Mediatori-Stover, and Matthew Galloway. Next will be our final RUSA list, which recognizes outstanding reference publications, and I'd like to introduce Rebecca Freeman, Chair of RUSA's Outstanding Reference Resources Committee.
Thank you, Lauren. This next list recognizes the most outstanding. Thank you, Lauren. The next list recognizes the most outstanding reference publications for small and medium-sized libraries. These selected titles are valuable reference resources and are highly recommended for inclusion in any library's reference collections. This year, the committee evaluated over 100 reference sources. The goal of this committee was to provide recommendations that would be a true asset to libraries, resources that librarians could confidently incorporate into their collections to enhance user experiences and provide reliable, up-to-date information. To make these selections, we leveraged our own expertise in libraries. We understand the importance of having reliable, accessible, and relevant reference materials that can support a wide range of topics and needs. We carefully evaluated each source, considering factors like ease of use, content quality, relevance, and accessibility for smaller library budgets and staff capacities. Through careful consideration, we narrowed our list to the top 10. This year's outstanding reference sources list includes Steven Spielberg, All the Films, the story behind every movie, episode, and short, by Olivier Bosquet, Arnaud Delvilliard, Nicholas Skylar, published by Black Dog and Leventhal. The Camping Bible, The Complete Guide to Life Under Canvas, by Jen Benson and Sim Benson, published by Bloomsbury. Bruce Songs, the music of Bruce Springsteen, album by album and song by song, by Kenneth Womack, Kenneth L. Campbell, published by Rutgers University Press. Queer Horror, a film guide, edited by Sean Abley and Tyler Dupay, published by McFarland. Dictionary of Privacy, Data Protection, and Information Security, by Mark Elliott, Anna M. Mandolari, Miranda Morby, Kieran O'Hara, and published by Edgar Elgar Publishing. How Economics Works, the Concepts Visually Explained, edited by John Andrews, illustrated by Mark Clifton, published by DK. The U.S. Criminal Justice System, a Reference Handbook, by Sarah Kuhn Magnan and Ryan J. Williams, published by Bloomsbury. Family Violence and Abuse, an Encyclopedia of Trends, Issues, and Solutions. Anthology editor, Sonia Solari, published by Bloomsbury. The Holocaust, Country by Country, by Paul R. Bartrop and Eve E. Grimm, published by Bloomsbury. Smithsonian Trees of North America, by W. John Kreese, published by Yale University Press. Please join me in a round of applause for the winners and our hardworking committee volunteers. And now I'd like to introduce Alison Escoto, chair of this year's Carnegie Selection Committee, and she will announce the fiction and nonfiction shortlists and winners.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. And thank you to everyone at RUSA and Booklist for all your work over the years to support the Andrew Carnegie Medals for Excellence in Nonfiction and Fiction. The Carnegies were created in 2012 to recognize the best fiction and nonfiction books for adult readers published in the US in the previous year. The medals continue to reflect the expert judgment and insight of library and book industry professionals who work closely with adult readers. I am honored to be here as the chair of the 2025 Carnegie Medal Selection Committee. We 7 spent a very busy year reading and discussing many, many books. Please give a round of applause for this year's Andrew Carnegie Medal Selection Committee. Barbara Bebel, Sarah Duff, Rebecca Hopman, Carrie Kepke, Edward Counselor, and Kathleen McBroom. Over the year, we read voraciously, met often, kept a meticulous spreadsheet of our nominations, and gradually achieved consensus on a rich and varied long list of 46 exceptional books. From this mountain of literary treasures, we continued to chisel away until we were left with the best of the best, the 3 works of fiction and 3 works of nonfiction that make up our shortlist. We are here to recognize these 6 finalists, their outstanding contributions to our literary landscape, and their significant gifts to readers. Let's begin by celebrating the Carnegie finalists in nonfiction. Challenger, a true story of heroism and disaster on the edge of space, by Adam Higginbotham, published by Avid Reader Press, an imprint of Simon & Schuster, LLC. In this precise account of the 1986 Challenger space shuttle disaster, in which all 7 crew members perished, Higginbotham, who won the 2020 Carnegie Medal for Midnight in Chernobyl, delves into the definition of acceptable risk and assesses accountability. Human error combined with technical failure caused the explosion, but hubris also contributed. Higginbotham's comprehensive and affecting recounting illuminates a tragedy that was entirely preventable. Cue the Sun, the invention of reality TV by Emily Nussbaum, published by Random House, an imprint and division of Penguin Random House LLC. Reality television may be ubiquitous, but it's not new, as Nussbaum illustrates in this fine book. She traces its roots to radio, then to TV shows that capitalized on people's willingness to look silly in front of a camera, through the creation of juggernauts like Survivor and Big Brother. An enjoyable deep dive into a format that, for better or worse, is here to stay. A Walk in the Park, the true story of a spectacular misadventure in the Grand Canyon by Kevin Fedarko, published by Scribner, an imprint of Simon & Schuster LLC. Centering his lifelong relationship with the Grand Canyon, from reading about it as a child through his time as a clumsy canoe guide, Fedarko shares his canyon-spanning hike, replete with steps, missteps, and arguments along the way. He particularly inspires in detailing the ancestral history of the land and some of the indigenous individuals who continue to fight against overdevelopment and ever-booming tourism. Let's now turn to the 3 fiction Carnegie finalists, beginning with Cinema Love by Jiaming Tang, published by Dutton, an imprint of Penguin Random House LLC. The growing complexity of Tang's fully realized characters is as fascinating as the interrelationships among them, a group of friends, lovers, and immigrants to America, connected by the workers' cinema in the Chinese town where several of them used to live. Rich in simile and metaphor, Tang's first novel is beautifully written and a captivating reading experience. James by Percival Everett, published by Doubleday, a division of Penguin Random House, LLC. In an astounding riposte, Everett rewrites Huckleberry Finn as the liberation narrative of the enslaved man Huck befriends. Determined to rescue his wife and daughter, James takes the story in a completely different direction than the original, exemplifying the relentless courage and moral clarity of an honorable man with nothing to lose. Martyr by Kaveh Akbar, published by Knopf, a division of Penguin Random House, LLC. The bedazzling and profound story of anxious, outspoken Iranian-American poet Cyrus Shams, who is obsessed with the idea of meaningful death, unfolds from different points of view and darts back and forth in time. First-time novelist Akbar creates scenes of psychedelic opulence and mystery, emotional precision, edgy hilarity, and heart-wringing poignancy as his characters endure war, grief, addiction, and sacrifice, and find refuge in art and love. And now for the winners. The 2025 Carnegie Medal for Excellence in Nonfiction goes to A Walk in the Park, the true story of a spectacular misadventure in the Grand Canyon by Kevin Fedarko, published by Scribner. And the 2025 Carnegie Medal for Excellence in Fiction goes to James by Percival Everett, published by Doubleday. The Carnegie celebration will continue with the medal presentation, a very special event featuring the winning authors and an exciting keynote speaker, which will take place at the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts during ALA's annual summer conference in Philadelphia this June. We hope to see you there. For now, please visit Booklist online and enjoy the recommended reading list created by the Carnegie finalists, and please help get the word out about our incredible winners. Thank you so much for celebrating with us today. And now back to Sarah Duff for some closing remarks.
Wow, what an exciting morning. Congratulations, everyone. Thank you to all the committee members for your hard work. As Allison stated, be sure to join us as we continue to honor these books and authors during our in-person Carnegie celebration at the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts at ALA Annual Conference in June. Also join us during RUSA's Literary Luminaries author panel taking place on Sunday morning, June 29th, authors and special guests to be announced. Additional best of lists selected by RUSA's sections, including best historical materials and others, can be found at rusaupdate.org next week. Finally, we invite you to register for the 4th annual RUSA Virtual Forum to be held Tuesday, March 4th and Thursday, March 6th. The RUSA Virtual Forum theme is Meeting Users' Needs, EDIA, and will showcase the work of our sections and interest groups. More information can be found at ala.org/RUSA. This concludes our 2025 Book and Media Awards. Thank you all again for attending. We hope you enjoyed this event, and we look forward to seeing you when it is safe and healthy to do so.